Heavy bang of the door echoed through the room as Jungkook stormed into the suite. The final click of the lock sealing your fate. You stood by the full-length mirror, slowly removing the diamond earrings you had so carefully chosen. He didn't spare you a glance, just yanked the bow tie from his neck like it was choking him. You watched him through the mirror. He moved like man forced into a cage, and you were the one who locked the door. You look tired, you said calmly, voice like silk. He scoffed. Don't pretend to care now. You turn around slowly, your wedding dress cascading like a curtain of secrets. Still sulking, you asked with a cold smile. It's unbecoming, Jungkook. We are married now, at least try to look like you are not plotting my murder. He walked up to you then. Slowly, each step laced with disdain, he stopped just a breath away. His voice low and dangerous. You really don't care who you ruin, do you? Your smile faltered, but only for a second. She'll survive, she always does. His jaw tightened and his eyes searched yours for any trace of guilt, but there was none. You're heartless. She didn't deserve this. No, you said. But neither did I. He didn't understand that part, not yet. You walked past him, your fingers grazing the armrest of the velvet chair. This arrangement might have been forced on you, but you learned to live with it. Gug laughed bitterly. Live with you? I plan to do much more than that. You froze. He came closer again, his voice brushing your skin like ice. You think you have won by marrying me, but what you have really done. His fingers lightly touched the zipper at the back of your dress, not with desire but threat, is giving me every reason to make you wish you never wore white. You turn your head, lips curling. Be careful, Jungkook. I grew up wanting to be loved by a man like you. Get turned into a woman who doesn't beg for love. He held your gaze for a moment, then stretched too long. Then, without a word, he turned his back and walked toward the couch, tossing his jacket aside. You stood still, heart pounding, but not from fear. This was a war. And the first shot had just been fired. The first time you saw Jungkook truly smile, he was looking at her. Your sister stood in the garden, the golden sun wrapping her in a halo as she laughed at something Jungkook said. He looked at her like she held the whole damn sky, like she was a wish he never thought would come true. You stood by the hallway, hidden behind the curtain, your nails digging into your palm as their laughter filtered in through the glass doors. No one ever looked at you like that, and no one ever would, not while she was in the room. You weren't the golden girl, you were the storm behind her sunshine. Not delicate, not soft, you were sharp edges in silk, the daughter your father trusted most, not because you were lovable, but because you were relentless, stubborn, calculated, and cold. You didn't need charm to get your way, you only needed your silence, and the power it carried. Your sister was the one they coddled, you were the one they obeyed, and she always hated that, but you hated her more. The real betrayal hadn't happened yet, not until she tried to take what was never hers to begin with. That came 3 weeks later, on a night that changed everything. You remember it like fire. Your father's voice, tense and tired, your sister's whisper, soft and shaking, and the sound of your world collapsing. That night you knocked on your father's steady door. Inside your father swirled whiskey in a glass. The amber liquid caught the light, but his attention was fixed on you, the daughter who rarely asked for anything, the one who never smiled until now. My child, what brought you here today? He looked at him. I want to talk to you about something. You wanted to talk? You walked over to the window, hands behind your back, eyes scanning the dim skyline. Then you turned to him. I want to marry Jungkook. There was no hesitation, no softness. He blinked. You nodded once. I want you to speak to Mr. John. I know he'll agree if you ask. Silence stretched between you like a tight string ready to snap. He stood slowly, taking cautious steps towards you, as if you were something delicate, like you hadn't been a stranger under his roof for the past 18 years. You love him? You nodded, and that was a lie. You didn't love him. You wanted him because he was the one thing she had that you didn't. And your father, he loved you too much to say no. Yes, he stared into your eyes, searching, looking for cracks in your mask, but you had worn it too long. It had become your skin. Then his face changed, relief, wonder. Something bright and full bloomed inside him. He reached for your hands. My little girl, he whispered, you are really asking me for something. You didn't speak, so he pulled you into a hug, his arms wrapped tightly around you, warm, fatherly, and unbearably late. I'll speak to Mr. John, he murmured. Leave it to me. I'll make it happen. You didn't hug back. You just stood there frozen, trapped in the arms of the man who, years ago, let your world burn for the sake of his desires. I'm proud of you, Ryan. You forced a smile against his shoulder. You forced it so hard it hurt, but he didn't notice. He only saw what he wanted, a daughter coming back to him. He didn't know you had never left the shadows, only learned how to weaponize them. You stepped out of the study, your father's warmth still clinging to your sleeves like dust, unwanted, suffocating. He had hugged you like a man seeing sunlight after decades of storm. He was thrilled. He promised he would speak to Jungkook's father by morning, but you only forced a smile, and then you saw her, Reena. Standing at the edge of the hall, barefoot, hair tousled like she had just rolled out of bed, but her eyes wide open, burning and betrayed. I knew it, she said, voice flat and shaky. I knew you were still that girl. Didn't respond, you walked right past her like she was a ghost, like she had always been. But her hand caught your arm. You really are going to do it? She demanded. You're actually going to marry him? You turned slowly. I just told father what I wanted. You always got to do that, didn't you? Her mouth opened but nothing came out. You leaned in, your voice calm, dangerous. Funny how you hate it the moment it's not going your way. Jungkook loves me. So what? That's not my problem. And also he looked at you like a boy who owed you something. Not like a man in love. Rina's face twisted. You don't love him either. You don't even like him. You're just doing this to take something from me. A small, cold smile tugged at your lips. And if I am? She recoiled like you slapped her. You are evil. You stepped closer, your voice dropping to a whisper only the shadows could hear. Still, I can't compete you and your mother. I'm done being the one who lost everything. My mom, my sister, my childhood. You took another step, and you walked into my house like a gift, all pretty and perfect, while your mother and you destroyed everything that was mine. You have always hated me, she hissed. Ever since we were kids, you couldn't stand not being the favorite. A slow, mirthless smile curved your lips. I never needed to be the favorite, just the last one standing. Her breath caught. You sound God. You sound deranged. You stepped closer, your tone chilling in its stillness. No, Reena, I sound done. Reena's jaw tightened. You think this will make him love you? You think taking him from me will fix whatever is broken in you? Who said I wanted love? You are the one who believed in fairy tales. I'm just rewriting the ending. Her eyes watered, but whether from rage or realization you couldn't tell. You have always hated me, haven't you? You smiled, cold and cruel. Do you want me to lie? She looked at you like she didn't recognize you anymore, like you were something unholy in her house. What is wrong with you? You are doing this just to hurt me. You leaned in slightly, voice barely above a whisper. No, darling, I'm doing this so you finally know what it feels like to lose something you thought belonged to you. Your face turned from the impact, but you didn't move otherwise. You slowly met her eyes again and said, I was 7 when you took everything. I've just been waiting for the right moment to take it back. You left her standing there, trembling, broken, breathless, and you didn't look back. The next week, your engagement was announced. You heard about the fight between Jungkook and his father. He had shouted, refused, stormed out. But the day he returned, silent and stone-faced, you knew he had folded. He wouldn't dare go against his father, so he married you, the girl who forced fate. Rina never came home for the wedding. She went to America. Because she knew what you did, and yet she never called Jungkook, never fought for him, never even looked back. Coward, just like always. You stood in the aisle wearing white, staring at the man beside you, and whispering inside your own skull. If I can't be her, I will destroy her reflection. I will take what she left behind and turn it into a weapon. He'll hate me, but he'll be mine. The morning after the wedding, you woke up to silence, not the warm kind, the suffocating kind, like standing at the edge of a cliff with no wind, no voice, just the heavy stillness before the fall. The bed beside you was untouched, of course. You walked into the living room wrapped in your silk robe, expecting emptiness, but Jungkook was there, shirtless, coffee mug in hand, hair damp like he had just stepped out of the shower. Calm, composed, dangerous. He didn't look at you. You stood at the doorway, arms folded, lips pressed into a thin line. You didn't sleep in the room. You said flatly. He took a sip of his coffee. Didn't want to ruin your perfect first night. You laughed, soft and humorless. Is this how it's going to be done? Now he looked at you, eyes sharp, jaw said, "This is going to be even worse. You think you won, didn't you? You think marrying me means you have taken something from her?" You didn't flinch. He stepped closer, slow and deliberate. "But let me be very clear, Ryan. I'm not yours. Not in love, not in loyalty, not in any damn way." You tilted your head. "Good," you said coolly. "I didn't marry you to be loved." That made something flicker in his eyes, confusion, disgust, curiosity. You weren't sure. You stepped past him and poured yourself a cup of coffee, matching his casual stance with chilling precision. Why? Why do this? Why force it? You took a sip and smiled against the rim of your cup. "Because I could." He stared at you like he was trying to unearth something beneath your skin. Some weakness, some crack, but you were made of stone now. And Jungkook, he wasn't ready to admit how much that intrigued him. "Careful," he murmured, setting his cup down. "You keep playing this cold, dangerous game, and one day you'll find yourself alone, even with a ring on your finger." You stepped towards him, barely an inch away. "I've been alone for years, Jungkook. The ring changes nothing." He didn't respond. He couldn't. Because for the first time he realized he didn't marry the girl who wanted love. He married the woman who came to burn down a legacy. And he had no idea what that fire was going to do to him. Later that night, he stood by the balcony of your shared penthouse, a glass of scotch in hand, city lights flickering like dying stars below. He replayed your voice in his head, cold and fearless. "I didn't marry you to be loved because I could." Arrogant, entitled, ruthless, he hated everything about you. Your smug eyes, your proud chin, the way you walked like the world owed you something. You stole her, Rina, and worse, you didn't even love him. Could have walked away, left the marriage as a name on paper, but no, that wasn't enough. You needed to pay for forcing him, for dragging his heart into a game he never agreed to play. So he decided he would become the devil, the man who would burn every layer of your pride. 2 weeks into the marriage, Jungkook hosted a formal dinner with business partners. You dressed in his favorite shade, the one you had seen Rina wear once, thinking maybe he would acknowledge the effort. He didn't. Instead, he poured a glass of wine for his assistant, Mina, and said in front of everyone, "Some people earn their place beside me, others just inherit it." Everyone chuckled politely. You swallowed your pride with your wine. That was the second rule: humiliation in public, silence in private. And the first one was to never share a bed with you. You returned from the store one day to find a new frame sitting on the bedroom shelf. It was a photo of Jungkook and Rina, laughing, young, carefree. You stared at it. Jungkook entered, glanced at you, then said with a smirk, "Just trying to feel something real in this fake setup." You didn't say anything, you just walked out. That was the third rule. Memory was a weapon, and he used her like a knife. 3 months passed, your first wedding anniversary arrived. You spent the entire day preparing his favorite dishes, decorated the dining space, even brought him a pen engraved with his initials. He came home at 11:47 pm. Drunk, loosening his tie, he looked at the table and then at you. "What is this? Your attempt at playing a perfect wife? You think I've accepted this marriage and I'll celebrate it?" You opened your mouth, but the words died in your throat. He walked closer, stood in front of you. "Let me make something very clear. I don't care about your effort. I don't care about this marriage. You may have manipulated your way into this house, but you'll never have me." He brushed past you, knocking the side of the table. The cake slid off the edge and crashed to the floor. You just stood there frozen. The candles flickered, then died. That night, you sat on the floor for hours, in your torn dress and bare feet, surrounded by shattered porcelain and wax, and it hit you like a cold slap. You gave him a chance, you tried, and he crushed it like it meant nothing. So you stopped hoping, stopped speaking, stopped hurting, and from that night forward, you weren't the girl trying to survive him. You became the woman who had never let him see her break again. Even if he burned the world around you, you would make sure he never touched what was left of your soul. He was trying to ruin you, not realizing you already rose from broken pieces. A few days later, he came home around midnight, exhausted after another long day. He expected silence, instead, he heard it, muffled sobs. They came from the living room, dim light spilled from a corner lamp. He turned. You were asleep on the couch, legs curled under you like a child, one hand pressed against your chest, and you were crying in your sleep. "Don't go, please no, don't leave me, Unni. Mom, don't leave me too." Jungkook froze. He stood there, heart kicking hard against his ribs. You weren't just crying, you were begging, like a child lost in a nightmare no one ever woke her from. His throat tightened, the anger had carried like armor faltered. Just for a second, he didn't want to care, but something held him. He couldn't leave. He stepped closer without realizing it, standing over you like a ghost. His hand reached out instinctively, then stopped midair. You didn't wake up, you just whispered one last thing through cracked lips. I'll be good, just please stay." He stood there for what felt like hours, then left without a sound. That night, Jungkook didn't sleep. He kept seeing your face in the dream, not as the cruel villain he had painted, but as a girl who once begged the world not to abandon her and still got left behind. Everyone thought you were rude, evil, spoiled, but they didn't know that you suffered a lot at a young age, lost so much, and that pain, that anger of taking revenge shaped you like this. You were 7 when your world ended. Your older sister, the kindest soul, your protector, your best friend, ended her life after the world turned against her. People whispered about her father's affair. Kids at school called her names. Her friends turned cold. Your mother tried to shield her, but she was breaking too. Then one night, your sister walked out the door and never came back. You remember your mother screaming. You remember the blue lights. You remember how cold her hand was when they let you say goodbye. You never forgot. 2 months later, your mother died from a stroke. The doctor said it was sudden. But you knew better. She died from grief, and that's when they moved in. The mistress, her daughter, the replacement family. You were still 7, Rina was 8, and everyone expected you to adjust, to share your toys, your home, your father. No one asked if you were okay. No one cared that your whole world had just been buried in a box 6 feet underground. They said your stepsister was just a child too, but you saw her smirk the first night she walked into your sister's old room. You knew even then she wasn't innocent. She enjoyed watching you break. Your father, maybe out of guilt, started spoiling you, giving you more than her. But it never healed anything, it only widened the cracks. And as you grew up, so did your silence. You became sharp, beautiful, cold. You were never the favorite to the world, but you were everything to your father, and that was enough to make her burn. She made it her mission to take everything from you, Liam, your first love, your pride, your safety. So when she fell in love with Jungkook and you saw her becoming the golden girl, you decided you wouldn't lose again. You would take him, even if he hated you, even if he loved her, because she had taken too much, and this time you would be the one who wins. You are marrying him, you told Appatu. I didn't tell him, you interrupted. I asked. She looked like she might scream. You knew I was with him. I knew he hadn't proposed. I knew he hadn't taken you home. I knew he kept you hidden. And that gave you the right? She screamed. You tilted your head, mocking. No, that gave me the opportunity. She stared at you like you were a stranger. You are disgusting. You are doing this just to ruin me. Leaned close, whispering in a tone that cut colder than ice. No, dear sister, I'm doing this to remind you, you don't get to live my life while wearing her face. Her eyes widened, and in that moment she knew exactly which sister you meant, not her, the one who died. You stepped around her, your heels clicking like thunder in the hallway. Behind you, her rage broke into silence. She had lost, and she hadn't even seen the knife coming.